We'll start by taking a few rounds of intentional breath. Breathing into the belly first, then into the chest, then up through the collarbones, in through the nose, and then a nice big long exhale. Exhaling a little bit longer than the inhale can signal to the brain to shut off the stress response and stress hormones like cortisol in the body, and to switch us over to rest and digest. So take a nice breath in again to the belly, then the chest, up into the nose, 3-part breath, and then a big long exhale. One more time. Breathe in belly, breathe in chest, up through the collarbones, all the way up into the nose. And then a big exhale, sigh it out, release. Coming down onto your back if you're not already there. And I'm going to start out just kind of shimmying my shoulder blades underneath my back. And the legs are just stretched out and relaxed. So let's come up onto the elbows, prop those arms up. So the hands are up in the air. Tuck the shoulder blades under and towards one another. And let's just inhale, let the back of the hands reach back, touch the ground. And then exhale, we'll bring those palms all the way forward. See how far they come. Making a little windshield wiper with our arms. Inhale it back so the knuckles touch the ground. And then exhale, palms come forward. Maybe the palms touch the ground. So we're just gently rotating the arms back and forth with the breath. Just this little gentle movement for the upper body here to start opening things here. Breathing in and breathing out. And now let's bring those arms up overhead for a nice full body stretch. Point the toes, point those fingers, and just get nice and long here. But check in with the shoulders, relax them away from the ears. And then while we're here, let's lift that right leg a few inches off the floor, circle that right ankle. And I want you to draw your belly down to your spine and draw the spine down to the mat so that low back is not arching up off the floor. We're working the core and we're circling that ankle on the right side, little lubrication with synovial fluid for that ankle joint, and then point and flex that right foot. Point and flex, point and flex. Wake up that calf muscle, the leg muscles here, and then release down. Meanwhile, my arms are still stretched overhead. Take a nice breath in. Maybe the back comes off the floor just a little bit. And then as you exhale, anchor that belly down and lift that left leg off the ground. Circle the left ankle. Maybe just noticing the creaking and cracking. I don't know if you heard my ankle. It was so loud there, if you could hear it crack. Circle that left ankle. Low back is anchored down onto the mat. Belly is engaged. Point and flex. Point and flex that left foot. And then release. So let's relax those arms down. Let's come into a reclined star. Stretch those arms out to 10 and 2 o'clock. The back of the hands, the knuckles are on the ground. Palms are open and face up. And then we open those feet to like 5 and 7 o'clock. Close the eyes and take a few breaths here. Breathing into the belly first, then the chest, up into the nose. And again, big long exhale. Breathe in belly, then chest, up into the nose, and exhale, release. Let that back sink down onto the ground. We're opening up here in this restorative pose. Armpits and groin. Where those filtration centers are for lymphatic fluid, which is related to our immune system. So just creating an opening for the flow of lymphatic fluid to go through those filters there in the belly as well. Just holding it here, stretching it out, nice and open. One more time, breathe into the belly, then the chest. Big long exhale. And then we'll pull everything back in to center. Hug those knees into the chest. Shimmy around on your mat and make sure that spine is nice and flat. So the whole spine is connected to the mat. And let's just rock it out side to side. Starting out with a little massage for the low back. And now with hands on knees, let's open those knees a little bit wider so they're outside the body. Getting a little stretch for the inner legs and the groin, and let's rock it here. Inner thighs stretching and opening. Massaging low back and hips. And then back to center, hug those knees into the chest. Hands on the knees still. Let's circle those knees out and away. If you want more of a core challenge, you can stretch those arms out to a T, palms face up. Make sure we pull that belly down to the spine and pull the spine down to the mat. And then switch it up, circle the other way. Just starting out with some gentle hip rotations here, lubricating that hip joint. And then release. Hug those knees into the chest again. So let's drop the knees over to the left into a knee down twist here. Let's stretch those arms out to the side, palms face up. And right now your head can turn left. So the bottom of the spine is twisting left, and the top of the spine and the neck is twisting right, looking at that right hand. So just a little gentle twist to start. And we'll take a few rounds of breath here as we stretch and open. See what you feel across the front of that right shoulder, the right side of the chest. Maybe there's a stretch down into the arm. Just kind of notice. Take a nice breath in. And then exhale, we make a rainbow. That arm comes up and over. We bring the palms together and then release back down onto the ground. So breathing in and out, open and close, open and close. The palms come together. And then you release back down and you try and get that right shoulder blade back down onto the mat. Nice and flat. Releasing back down. Now we'll put that Right hand back behind the head, bend at the right elbow, and same thing here. Coming up, we kind of roll onto that left side and then release back down. Stretch and open the right side of the chest. Exhale, curl up. Inhale down. A few more times on this side. Open and close. Open and close. Now let's see if we can stretch that top leg out, the right leg. Hold it here. So a couple of options, you can grab your strap and hook it around the foot. Maybe your left hand is able to reach the right big toe. Maybe your left hand can hold on at that right ankle. And then once again, we'll stretch that right arm out. Nice big stretch for that outer right hip. And then release. Back to center. Hug the knees in, rock side to side. And we'll switch sides. So this time we will drop the knees over to the right into a knee down twist. And then we'll stretch that left arm out. So when I do this, I notice my left shoulder blade is not touching the mat. So I'm going to inch my upper body over to the right a little bit towards my knees. And now that left shoulder blade is down. So starting out here with a nice little stretch for that left hip. Take a breath in and out that left rib cage. Nice long exhale. And then making that rainbow, left arm comes up and over, palms together. And then release back down. That left shoulder blade comes back down. Inhaling and exhaling. Open and close. One more time. And now we can clasp that left hand back behind the head or clasp both hands. And then curling over onto the right. Elbows come together and then open back down. Left shoulder blade touches the mat again. So opening and closing. Breathing in and out. And then we'll take that top leg. I'm going to release my arms here first. Stretch that top leg out. You can point and flex and circle again if that feels good. You can hold that left leg up in the air and just work those muscles. You can reach for that strap, lasso around that left foot. Maybe the hand reaches that left big toe. Maybe you can hold on that left ankle. Take a breath or two here. Nice big stretch into that outer left hip while we're twisting. And then release. So let's just bring that left leg back in. Let's make a little pillow with that right arm. Get comfy again on your mat. The knees are hugged in. And we'll start with a little bit of strength for that outer hip. So we're going to do a clamshell, open and close, open and close. So that bottom leg stays down, connected to the mat. Just lifting and lowering a few times. And then we'll lift that left leg up into the air. Now tap that knee forward and then tap the left foot back. Tap the left knee forward. Tap that left foot back. So we're opening and closing that left hip, working on hip mobility and a little bit of hip strength here too. Open and close. Back to neutral in the center, and let's just circle it out here. Circle both directions, switch it up a couple times in each direction. And then we'll hug that left knee into the chest. We'll stretch that left leg up into the air. You can point and flex again. So wherever you can reach, maybe back behind the ankle, or maybe you can reach that big toe. Maybe you're kind of holding back behind the left knee. Draw that left leg in a little bit closer. Now, while we're here for a little bit of a challenge, we can stretch that bottom leg out, lift it up off the floor, working on balance and strengthening that inner leg. Can lift and lower a few times if that feels good. And then release. Let's roll over onto the belly. And we'll switch sides. So this time we make a little pillow with that left arm. We hug those knees into the chest, and we start with the strengthening, opening, and closing. Open and close. See what you feel up here in that outer right hip. Those muscles working hard here in our clamshell. Open and close. Open and close. And then we bring that left leg, that right leg, top leg up into the air. Tap that right knee forward and tap that right foot back. Tap the right foot forward. Tap the right foot back. So again, working on hip mobility. And maybe you feel those muscles deep in there working a little bit as well. So we're working on strengthening as we open and close here. One more time. And then we'll hug that knee into the chest. And then just circle here. Just like we did with the ankles. Working on hip mobility and lubricating the hips here with synovial fluid. And then switch it up, circle the other direction. And then we'll hug that knee in, stretch that right leg up in the air, get a nice little stretch here into the hamstring. And if you can reach those toes and you can really flex that foot, pull those toes down towards the face, get a little bit deeper down into that calf, the lower leg. And then option, if you want a little bit of a balance challenge, straighten that bottom leg out, lift it up off the floor, point that left toe, pull the belly into the spine. Maybe you lift and lower that bottom leg a few times. So your core is helping you to balance here. And then release. We'll roll over onto our belly. So take your time and shimmy around here. See if you can get those hip bones as close as you can to the mat. And then feet come up in the air. So we bend at the knees. We want to keep those feet together to just do this a little bit differently today. So you can stack your fists and rest your chin, or stack your hands or block under your chin, whatever, anything you need for support. So we're going to keep those legs hugged together and windshield wiper. So let those hips come off the floor as you keep those legs hugged together the whole time. Windshield wiper, a little bit different today. So we're really kind of wiggling the hips a bit. All right, release those legs back down here. Let's come up into a little back bend into Sphinx pose. Come up to the elbows. Fingers are spread nice and wide. I'm tucking my toes under here in the back and lifting my knees off the floor. So lower body is active. Draw that belly up towards the spine. And then lift that chin up off the chest. So just kind of check in with your shoulders and notice if you're kind of slumping and the ears and the shoulders are touching. Can you ground down into those forearms and rise up? So the shoulders are not scrunched here. And then draw that belly up off the floor. Super active back bend, even though we're lying down. Take a nice breath in and out. One more time, breathe in and out. Release back down. So let's stack those hands again. And this time we're going to go what we just really did on the other side. And we're going to bend that left leg and we're going to turn and have that foot come back. I'll just model it here. Back behind, maybe that left toe touches the ground and then we bring it back. But let's bring our arms out first. It's a little bit of a flowing broken wing pose. Palms face down. So we'll start bending that right knee. Right foot comes up in the air and then turn and open. Back to center, switch sides, bend the left knee and that left leg taps back behind. So we'll do side to side a few times. Right leg, turn, maybe that foot taps behind us on the ground, maybe it doesn't get there. Either way, we're bending that knee, turning, twisting, and opening in front of the hip. One more time. Right knee, and back, and then left side, and back. All right, let's come back up to our Sphinx pose. Let's grab our strap. Come back onto the belly. So you can use your strap here. We're going to do a little quad stretch. Stretch out the front of the hip. So you can take that strap, make a little lasso for that foot. Just take your time and set up. So again, I'm going to try and shimmy around and make sure my hip bones are as close as I can get them to the ground. So you can stay down low and relax the upper body here. So we want to draw that foot towards the glutes. And of course, this is a restorative way to do it. We let the strap kind of do the work for us and the body, the leg gets to relax into it. You could also reach back for that right foot if that's available and you want it to be a little bit more active. So take a nice breath in here and out. Close the eyes. And just check in with the sensation in the front of that right thigh and the front of the right hip. And now for a little challenge, we'll stretch that left arm out in front and lift. Left arm, left leg. Belly comes up off the floor. And release down. All right, let's switch sides. So we relax that right leg down. And then left leg. So getting that left foot in a lasso or reaching back for that left foot. While you're here, think of that front of the left hip reaching down for the mat, lengthening in front of that left hip. Maybe you notice a difference between the right and the left side. Just noticing these little subtle differences sometimes between the right and left side of the body in the same pose. Nothing to do or judge, but just noticing. And then we'll stretch that right arm out in front. Take a breath in and we lift up. Right arm, right leg. Breathe here. In and out through the nose. And then release down. So windshield wiper again. This time the legs can be a little bit farther apart. Let those hips wiggle around as well, not just the legs. All right, so we're going to flip back over onto our backs. Let's hug those knees in. Let's do a little bit of a side leaning pose here. Let's stretch those legs out nice and long. Grab your strap. Inhale those arms overhead. And we're going to come into our banana or half moon pose. So I'm going to walk those feet over and then inch the head over, coming into the shape of a banana. So my head is over about 1 o'clock. The feet are over at about 5 o'clock. And then your choice if you want those arms to be kind of straight and active off the floor, or if you want those elbows bent and let the body just completely relax down. So you can make this more restorative or more active. Nice breath in and out. Switch sides, walk those feet over to the right. Shimmy that upper body, head comes over, and then cross that left foot over the right. So while we're here, my left shoulder blade is connected to the mat. My left glute is connected to the mat. So we're not rolling onto our left side. We keep the back of the body nice and flat. And just check in with that stretch. Left armpit all the way down the left side body, through the left hip, and down the IT band, down the outside of that left leg, kind of where the seam of your pants is. Your pants, that outer left seam. Take a nice breath into that left rib cage. Nice breath out. And then release. Come on back to center. Hug those knees in. Rock it out side to side. Just notice, again, any differences on the left side versus the right. So let's do a little figure 4 here. Let's cross that right leg over the left. You can have your hands back behind that left thigh, or you can also take that strap back behind the left thigh. A little extra support. And let's just rock here. Close those eyes, take a few breaths in and out through the nose. And then release. Let's stretch both legs up in the air. That low back is nice and flat. Just a few more ankle circles. Point and flex. And then we switch sides. So we can bring that left foot, cross it over the right, figure 4. And maybe we have that strap behind the right knee just to change it up a bit today. You can hold it still and draw that right leg in a little closer. Or you can rock it out and massage that low back. And then release. All right, one more stretch here. Let's get those feet hooked into the strap. Stretch those legs up into the air, and let's start out just like we walk our dog in downward dog, bending opposite knees. Bend one knee and straighten the other, and then switch. Really stretch those heels up to the sky. And then both legs are up nice and straight. Let's make a few circles here. Nice and slow, super gentle. And just kind of check in with that circle that you're drawing on the mat with your low back. Back to neutral, open those legs to a V. Nice soft knees, let those knees bend and relax here. And maybe you want to rock it out a bit. Maybe that feels good. Or maybe you just want to hold it. Close those eyes and take a few breaths here before we move on and become more active. Nice breath into the belly, then the chest. Nice big exhale. So check in with your tailbone here and just kind of notice if that tailbone is curling up off the mat. Stretch that back down, the lowest part of the spine. Stretch it back down onto the mat. Spine is nice and long and flat. Maybe draw those legs in a little bit closer towards the belly. Go a little bit deeper. And then maybe you want to just straighten the legs a bit and then bend. Straighten and bend. And then release. Feet come back together. We're going to make our way up to sit. So come up nice and slow. If that's what your body needs, if you want to do a little spinal rocking with me, hands back behind the knees. And rock back and forth a few times. Little massage for the kidneys on the back body. And we'll all wind up into our modified boat pose. So let's see if you can grab your block. If you could balance that block on your shin here. And maybe this feels like super easy. Maybe you want more of a challenge, and you can release those hands here. You can stretch those arms up. So just play with it if that feels good for your body. Draw the belly into the spine, lift that heart. Maybe the palms are open here. Take a nice breath in and out, and then release down. All right, let's come up to hands and knees. Let's start out with a little cat-cow here as we make our way up. Fingers are spread nice and wide here. Breathing in, let that belly drop down, lift the chin. Exhale, curl and arch. Breathe in, breathe out. Breathe in and out. All right, back to neutral. Let's just circle it out here. Circle those hips a bit. And then switch it up. Opposite direction. So just thinking of that clock here. 12 o'clock, 3 o'clock, 6 o'clock, 9 o'clock. And then back to neutral. Back to our table. So I'm going to make sure that my fingers are spread nice and wide on my right hand here. And then to work on a little bit of twisting and opening the upper body, again, we're going to bring that left hand back behind the head, turn and twist, open, and then exhale down. Twist and open. We reach that elbow up for the sky. One more time, breathe in and out. This time, open that left arm up, and then exhale, thread it through. Thread the needle. And we let that left ear, left side of the face rest down. Take a breath or two here. I'm just going to turn, get a different angle. So that right palm is still pushing down onto the mat, the floor. And I'm going to stretch that right leg out to the side. I'm going to tuck my right toes under so my right heel is off the floor. Get a little stretch down the back of the leg, and then option, if you want a challenge, to lift that right leg up in the air. Maybe you can get it parallel to the floor. And then release. Bend that right knee, pull it back in. Untwist, open again. And then back to center. So maybe a little cat-cow in between sides feels good here. And then we'll do same thing, other side. So ground that left hand, spread those fingers nice and wide. And we'll bring that right hand back behind the head, turn and twist and open. Exhale back. Twist and open right. Exhale. One more time, open. And close. This time, stretch that arm up and open it. Exhale, thread it through. Right side of the face rests down. You can have a little pillow here or something. So that right arm is totally relaxed down and the right palm is face up here. Big stretch for the upper back. Little bit of a twist. And then option to extend that left leg out. Left toes are pointing towards my face. My left heel is off the floor, getting a nice stretch down the back of that left leg. And then option for a challenge to lift that left leg off the floor. Take a breath or two here in our twisty pretzel. And then release. Leg comes down, bend that left knee, bring it back in. And then last but not least, twist and open that right arm again. And then back to center. All right. Let's just kind of wiggle it side to side here. Just kind of releasing low back. And let's come into our puppy pose. So let's walk our hands as far forward as we can get them. And then we pull back. So in puppy, our hips stay up in the air, unlike downward dog where we kind of sit back. So big stretch here for the armpit area. You can let that forehead rest down on the mat. Pull back. Breathe in and out. And then we'll come up a little bit higher. Let's come up onto those fingertips here. And let's walk those hands over to about 1 o'clock. I'm going to let my left hips swing over to the side and then sink down a little bit lower here. My left hip is kind of hanging off to the left. Another big side stretch here. Hips come back to center. Walk those hands across. This time, the hands are coming over maybe to like 11 o'clock. Swing those hips over to the right and sink down. So check in with the right armpit and all the way down the right side body into that right hip. Big breath in and out here. And then release back to center. We'll come back onto the hands onto our table pose. And then from here, we're going to come into a wide-legged forward fold. So if you want to grab your blocks, you can have them handy right in front while we're down. Get them set up. So my fingers are spread nice and wide. I'm going to start bringing my right leg out to the side. My right knee is bent. I'm going to tuck that back left toe and then lift that left leg. So my knees are really bent here, coming up nice and slow and steady. And then I start to widen my feet, straighten the legs out a bit. So if this is too low, remember you can always be up here on your blocks. Any issues with blood pressure or glaucoma or vertigo, you want to stay up high so it would look more like this, maybe parallel to the ground. Otherwise, you can be down low and let that head hang down, shake that head, yes and no. Let's come into a little twist while we're here. So we ground that right hand, turn and twist, open left. Exhale down, turn and twist, open right. Exhale down, breathe in, breathe out, breathe in and out. One more time, inhale, exhale, right side, inhale and exhale. So let's do a little bit of a walk forward with our hands here. So it's like a wide-legged downward dog. Walk those hands as far forward as you can. Feet are nice and wide. And then we start to just pull back. Hold it here. Maybe you come up onto the fingertips if you want a little bit more of a challenge. The belly's engaged. Big wide-legged stretch here. Take a nice breath in and out. And then we'll start to walk those hands back in, bend those knees. And I'm going to start to walk my feet closer. Get up however it feels safe. If you have a chair or a couch nearby, come on up to stand. Nice and slow. Just going to pull this back a bit. There we go. Roll those shoulders up and back and down. And roll the shoulders forward. Let's do a few sun breaths here. So feet are hip width apart. Inhale, stretch those arms overhead. Exhale, arms to a T. Swan dive down, soft knees. Hands to shins, breathe in. Exhale, fold back down. Knees are soft the whole time. Inhale up, palms together. Exhale down. Again, breathe in. Exhale, arms to a T, swan dive, forward fold. Inhale, flat back. Exhale, fold forward. Bend those knees, come all the way up. Inhale it up. Palms together. And exhale. This time we'll bring those hands back behind the body. So you can clasp your hands behind your back like this. Or grab your strap if that's unavailable. This is a little bit gentler. And use your strap wherever it feels right for your body. So here we go. Belly is drawn into spine. If we try this to check our own posture, since we're on Zoom, and you put that block on the top of your head, this is how you would know that your spine is nice and tall and straight. So we have that strap back behind or hands are clasped. Draw the belly into the spine. That block is balancing on our head. And then we lift those arms just a little bit. You don't have to come up very far to feel a difference in the stretch. Take a nice breath in and out. In and out. Lift the heart and just breathe. And then release. Drop that block. And just shake everything out. I'm going to come into a little bit of a flow here. Little warrior two series. Step that right foot forward. Nice big step back, left foot parallel to the back of the mat. Bend into that front right knee. Belly's drawn into spine here. Warrior two, we look out over that front right hand. So you get down into that right knee as deep as you know it feels safe for your body. Draw those shoulder blades a little closer on the back so we have a nice stretch and opening across the chest. And then tip back. Peaceful warrior. Nice breath in and out here. Exhale into side angle pose. We bend that right elbow. And let's start stretching that left arm straight up for the sky. Right palm is facing up. And then we stretch that left arm overhead. Let's circle it a few times, breathing in and out. And then switch it up, circle the other way. Come on back up to warrior two. Let's parallel the feet here. Inhale, stretch it up to star. Draw that belly into the spine. And see if you can open across the chest by bringing those shoulder blades a little closer together on the back. Big breath in and out. Let's release that right arm down and lean to the right. Inhale, center. Exhale, slide that left hand down the left thigh. Lean to the left. Inhale, back to center. Exhale those arms back out to star. And let's work on a little bit of balance here. So I'm going to walk my feet a little closer so it feels a little safer to come onto one leg. So I'm going to shift the weight into that left leg, coming up on just that right big toe for support. And then when you're ready, balancing star. Shoulder blades are coming towards one another on the back. Open that chest. Release back to center. Drop those arms. Shake them out. And then inhale it back up. Switch sides. Shift the weight into the right leg. Using that, just that left big toe. Maybe you could stay here if this is enough of a challenge, or maybe you lift that left leg off the floor. Open those arms nice and wide and breathe as you balance. And then release back to center. Shake those arms out. Just kind of circle the shoulders and relax them a bit. And then we're going to switch into warrior two on the left side. So left foot facing straight ahead. Step back with the right. And we check and we make sure that right foot is parallel to the back of the mat, right? We don't want that right toe pointing back behind us. So it's parallel or even in a little bit. So your toes could be pointing to 2 o'clock. So we want to protect so we don't injure here. Bend into that front left knee. You can adjust and get down as low as it feels safe for your body. Look over that front left hand. And then tip back, peaceful warrior. Belly's drawn into spine. Take a nice breath in and out here. And then exhale into side angle pose. Bend that left elbow. Start reaching that right hand straight up for the sky. So see if you can do this and use these side muscles here, the obliques, rather than just slumping down and leaning into that arm. Right now, I'm not putting any weight into that left arm. Now stretch that right arm overhead into side angle. Nice breath here. And then circle that arm a few times in both directions. A little lubrication for that shoulder joint. Switch it up, circle both directions. And then make your way back up to warrior two. We'll straighten out that left leg, parallel the feet, face them forward. And then nice and slow, just step out, shake it out. And let's do a little stretch for the wrists here. I'll come a little bit closer. Just start out circling the wrists, both directions. And now let's open that right palm. Use the left hand to draw those fingers back a bit. So we get a nice stretch here into the forearm. And you can see my arm is a little bit straight here, but it's not locked at the elbow or causing any tension. And then switch. Left hand, and then we open that left palm, gently draw those left fingers back. And maybe straighten out the arm a bit. Nice breath in and out. And then release. So come back to a little bit wider than hip width, and let's just twist it out here. Let those arms tap the side of the body. We'll do one more thing for balance. So slow it down. And we're going to always remember to engage those belly muscles. Shift the weight into the left leg. And we draw that right knee up. You can stay here the whole time, and you can just circle the ankle and work on balancing here. But if you want to do the next step, that left hand will hook around that right knee, and we turn and we twist open to the right. So maybe we can get that right hand back to 6 o'clock behind us. Nice breath in and out here. And then release back to center, shake it out. Switch sides. This time we shift the weight into that right leg and draw that left knee into the chest. So feel free to hold on to your chair or the wall for support and just stay right here the whole time. Or right hand will hook around the outside of that left knee. Left arm extends out, reaches back towards 6 o'clock. Look back over that left shoulder. So we did this lying on our back right in the very beginning of our class. And here we are doing it in standing balance. This is just like our knee down twist. Release back to center and shake it out. Make your way down, back down to your mat to sit. We'll come into a wide-legged stretch here. So knees and toes are pointing straight up. Inhale, stretch it up, and exhale, come forward. Maybe we're on the fingertips here. You don't have to come very far to get a nice stretch. Let's walk over to that right leg. Nice breath in and out. And then staying down low, walking over to that left leg. Nice breath in and out. Walk it back to center, back to sit upright. Take a nice tall breath in. And then exhale, twist to the right. Once again, my left hand is hooking around that right knee. And I'm on my fingertips on the right hand, back at 6 o'clock. Breathe in and out here. And then inhale, center. Exhale, twist left. Knees and toes are still pointing straight up, nice and active. And then release back to center. Shake it out, bring those legs together. You could use your strap around the feet here. for a forward fold. Inhale it up, and then exhale, fold forward using that strap or yogi toe hold. Reach for those big toes. A little soft bend in the knees here. Relax the shoulders. Take a nice breath in and out. And then nice and slow, make your way back up. And I'm going to swing around, come on back down onto your back. Hug those knees into the chest and rock side to side. So let's finish up here with a little hip stretch. Bend the knees, feet come flat on the floor. And let's walk them nice and wide so the toes are hanging off our mat. Let's stretch those arms out and relax them down, palms face up, and windshield wiper. Dropping those legs side to side. Maybe closing the eyes here. And let those legs drop over to the left. And let's hold it here. I'm going to reach and stretch my right hip forward. And draw that right knee down towards the mat. Head can turn right here. Take a few breaths as we stretch the front of the right hip and down the front of that right thigh, the quad muscle. And then windshield wiper side to side. And this time we drop knees right. And I'm going to stretch that left hip forward and draw my left knee down towards the mat. Head turns left. Take a nice breath in here and out. Let everything go. And then windshield wiper side to side. So yogi's choice here, if there's any pose or stretch that your body needs, take it now. Hug the knees in and rock it out, massage the back one final time. I'm going to come into a happy baby if you want to join me. Knees are nice and wide outside the body. And I'm checking to make sure my tailbone stays nice and flat on the mat. Any stretch that feels good here. You could straighten the legs and do a reclined wide-legged stretch if that feels good. Happy baby. And then eventually making your way into your resting pose for Shavasana. You could always put a little bolster under or rolled up towel under your knees when you're lying flat on your back. You can hook your legs up onto the couch or chair for astronaut pose. I'm going to do legs up the wall. Shimmy in closer. And then let those legs relax. Wherever you are, see if you can stretch those arms out to the side and let the palms face up. Maybe easing into Shavasana, taking a nice big breath into the belly, then the chest. Nice big exhale. And then let the breath happen naturally. No special way to breathe. Just bringing your attention to the rise and the fall of the belly. And the rise and the fall of a chest. Coming back to where we began, in this place of stillness. Letting go in the head, neck, and shoulders. Letting all those muscles down the back around the spine, release and relax down into the mat. Relax the glutes and the hamstrings, the back of the legs, let everything go. So in the comfort of your own home, you can stay right where you are for a little bit of an extended relaxation. But if you're ready to move on, start bringing some movement back in. Wiggling fingers and toes. And roll onto your side. Push back up to sit. Taking one nice deep breath in, close the eyes. Bring the hands together in front of the heart. And until we meet again, may you be happy. May you be healthy in body and mind. May you be safe. And may you be at ease. And namaste.